Hello friends and fellow flight simmers. Welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Simulator video. It's been a while since I published a tutorial or video. It's due to me being very busy and not having time to record anything. But today we are going to take a look at the Flybywire A320's experimental build. There are some nice features added by the team, and we will talk about those and do a flight from Dublin to Manchester. As you see in the background, we are in Ryanair colors. I intentionally selected Ryanair to ensure that I am not going to get criticized if I do a terrible landing. Okay. So what we'll do today is we'll take a look at the hydraulic system simulation that's recently implemented. Okay, this is a very good implementation actually, and this is what will make this aircraft a study level aircraft with all the systems and functions simulated to a deep level, and we'll take a look at that. And they also added some pilot cabin crew announcements that are triggered by certain phases of the flight, such as cruise, descent, approach, landing. We'll take a look at those, and we will complete this with a full flight from Dublin to Manchester. This annoying sound that you are hearing is coming from the ground power unit. I apologize for that, but let's jump into the cockpit and start figuring things out, shall we? Alright, we are in a cold and dark state, as you see, and we'll just go through the flows, not as close to as real life. It's gonna take forever if we do that, but there are a lot of videos about the real life procedures and checklists if you guys want to follow those. In a simulator, you do it once, twice, and then at least in my opinion, you start to feel like they are too time consuming, and you'd rather have time flying to enjoy what's happening up in there. But we will touch on some of those, and we will do the regular flow to start this aircraft. First things first, the battery power to on, and we have ground power available. It's already connected, so we'll turn the ground power on. Let's get our lights figured out and also start our IRS system to align, which will be important. It takes some time. Crew oxygen supply is turned on. Emergency exit lights are armed, and we are going to turn on the nav lights to let the ground crews know that the aircraft is powered on now. We'll worry about the seatbelt sign and the nose making later on when we start the boarding, and we will turn them on when boarding starts after we request the initialization from SimBrief, which is the easiest way to do it. In real world there is no SimBrief, as you know, and the pilots are entering each and every waypoint by typing to the MCDU, but they have the advantage of being in the cockpit, the real cockpit as well. Alright, integral lighting is done. I think we are going to close the cockpit door now, because we are getting ready to start programming our aircraft. And without even touching the MCDU, I want to show something about the hydraulic system simulation. So let me put the lower ECAM to hydraulic system. Everything is turned off right now, nothing is running, and there is no pressure. As you see, we have two electrical pumps, blue and yellow, and the green system has engine hydraulic generators. Blue and yellow system also has the electrical pumps as well, which can be found at the overhead panel. And the reason I'm telling this is I want you guys to pay attention to this aileron over here. Let's go inside, jump to the overhead. This is the electrical pump for the yellow hydraulic system. I'm going to turn it on and quickly jump outside to show you guys what will happen to the ailerons. Ailerons are hydraulically powered, and when there is no hydraulic pressure they gradually drop like that, and that's the natural way of, you know, I mean, I'm trying to find the right word here. That's the natural look of the ailerons if the aircraft was sitting on the apron for a long time without any hydraulic power. Alright, let's turn it on and jump outside. You see, when the hydraulic system pressurized, it brings this to its normal position. If I turn the pump off, give it some time, as the pressure goes away, this is gonna start sagging again and it will start dropping like so. You are seeing it right now. So this is a true representation of the hydraulic system of this aircraft, which is nice to see in this experimental build, and hopefully it will make its way to the development and eventually to a stable release. Alright, that is what I wanted to share about the hydraulic system, and when you turn it on you will see it here. I just wanted to quickly jump outside to show you without spending time, but as you see now, all green, it's pressurized and it's powering that hydraulic system and whatever is connected to that system. Okay. Alright, what else? We are going to jump to, oh, the other thing. I'm not sure if it's in the development, I haven't checked this, but these flight directors are now separated. You can turn them on individually. Flight director 1, 2, you can turn 1 off and 2 will stay. So they are sort of separated now, which is good to see as well. Let's jump to the MCDU and let's do our initialization. We will request it from SimBrief. There it is. Dublin to Manchester. Ryanair 556 is our flight number today. Costing index of 25, and our cruising altitude is going to be flight level 210. The second page of the init, unfortunately we cannot finish this because we have to complete the boarding to get the zero fuel weight and zero fuel weight center of gravity. To do that, we go to the menu, ATSU, AOC, weights and balances. We request the weights and balances or load sheet in that case, and start boarding the passengers. I just changed this from real to fast, so it boards a little bit faster, and at the end of the boarding you will hear the cabin crew saying, coming to the cockpit door saying boarding is complete, and the captain will do his welcome speech to the passengers. You will hear that, and it's gonna happen in the next 30 seconds when I start boarding, because this is the fast setting to start boarding, and that will give me the time to go and check the fuel. Our OFP states that we are going to need 4.1 tons of fuel, so let's do that. And this is real time or realistic fueling length. So 5 minutes, 0.5 minutes is the estimated refuel time. I'm not sure if it's true in real life. Never refueled an A320, so I don't know. But boarding is going on, as you see. And I think while it's going on, we can select our departure. Our departure for today is going to be from runway 28 left, and we will be departing via the, let me check the OFP. Can't remember the, I think it's that one, but let me double check that. Where is my flight plan? There it is. Briefing, and our SID is Leafy 6 Alpha. So Leafy 6 Alpha is our SID. We will select this. Come on. Okay, and there are no transitions, so we will insert that. That is our departure selected, and our arrival is going to be ILS 23 right via the Mercy 3 Bravo arrival and no bias, and we don't have a transition as well. We will insert this. I believe it was no bias. It shouldn't have any. And we will check the flight plan for discontinuities here in a second. I want to go back to the Asu menu to check the boarding progress. And it's progressing pretty fast. As you see, it's started to fill the aircraft from rear to the front, which is what I think done in real life if you are not a business class passenger or first class passenger. I think Airbus has only business class, not first class, if I'm not mistaken. 2 minutes to align the irises. And what we can do is, while we are waiting for this to complete, we can request the weather information, or our METAR in this case, because we are going to need it to set our altimeters. And it should pop a message here saying company message when we receive the METAR information. There we go. Received message. As you see, the flight attendant said boarding completed. Now you will hear the pilot doing his welcome speech here in a second while this is printing. So the altimeter is 1023 at Dublin. Let's set our altimeters. 1023. Let's set our standby to 23. While the boarding is completed,
ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer and cabin crew, I'd like to take this time to welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to receive final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that you give them your full, undivided attention as they review the safety operations of this Airbus aircraft. We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
Alright, so that was Captain welcoming the passengers. I didn't speak for you guys to listen to it a little bit. Our flight cruise level is 210, flight level 210, and there are no altitude or speed restrictions on our departure, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll set the heading back to runway heading until we take off, and that heading is 278. And the speed, we will figure it out when we calculate our takeoff speeds. Alright, we can go to the init now and complete the second page for zero fuel weight. That is done, and we know our block fuel is 4.1. We'll plug it in here, and we should see the block fuel here as well for almost 4.1. I think that's okay. Alright, init is done. Flight plan looks, yeah, we will check the flight plan now. So let's increase the range, go to the plan mode, and we also have our IRS system aligned. So we are pretty much ready for pushback after checking the flight plan routing. Alright, I'm trying to get a closer view for you guys to see as well, and this is what we are looking now. And the dashed line, why you are seeing dashed line is because I set it to runway heading, and it's not managed setting, it's selected, and that's why you are seeing this dashed line. When there is a dot here, this becomes a solid line, but I'm not gonna do that right now, or maybe we can. If I press that, this, just give it a second, and it will become a solid line, as you see. And if I turn it back down to selected heading, it will become a dashed line to let the pilot know that it's in selected heading mode and it's not following the flight plan. So 278, our runway heading, and let's check our flight plan routing too for any discontinuity. Alright, that looks fine. Leafy, and there is a discontinuity here because the same waypoint is listed twice. So how we fix this? We clear this waypoint first. Oops, I think the clear didn't work, so let's do this one more time. Clear, you should see that it is in the scratch pad, and then Leafy, go away, and then clear one more time, and this time clear the discontinuity, and we can keep going now. Leafy, IDEXA, Genus, Netco, Linus, Rolex, Malud, and then Val, Mirst, or yeah, if I'm reading correctly, it is Mercy. Okay, Mercy is our last point in our star. Okay, after here we will activate the approach mode in the MCDU. We will also configure the aircraft for landing, or start to. That should trigger the autopilot to slow down to green dot speed and get ready to deploy or extend flaps. Okay, after Mercy though is the manual leg of our flight. This is where we should expect ATC to vector us for final. Due to not having ATC, we are going to vector ourselves. And how we are going to do it is we will probably go selected heading and then fly the heading we take to Mercy and stay on the same track, go all the way. Maybe I'll increase the range a little bit for you guys to see. We'll go all the way to here, and then we are somewhere around here we can make a right turn to intercept our initial fix, which is Charlie Foxtrot 23R or Romeo, and then prepare for landing. That is the plan, and this is also our routing and briefing. So what else is left? We need to calculate our performance. There is a calculator. I have seen a video from, I think it was EasyJet Sim Pilot who shared this. You can search for that video, but I haven't tested it myself and I haven't tried, so I'm gonna just do guesswork here. And I believe the Flybywire team is also working on a calculator to calculate this horizontal stabilizer setting and the flap setting to make it a little bit more realistic. Flex temperature, I use 55. 55 should be enough for this airport and the runway we have. But this is me just guessing, so haven't done any calculations, and this is usually done and entered after a calculation. V speeds, we will plug them in here. V1 131, V2 132, we rotate 132, and V2 136, and we'll come over here, go open or selected speed. We will select our V2 plus 10 knots, which is going to give us 146 on the speed bug until we take off, and then the auto thrust should take care of everything when we take off. Okay, so all preparations are done. Our passengers are boarded. I should have turned this on earlier, but well, this is why you have a pilot and a co-pilot to keep an eye on things. So both passenger signs are turned on. We'll turn our beacon light on because we are getting ready to start our engines. We will turn our, and when you turn the beacons, that's the trigger for cabin crew to say, cabin crew, slice arm and cross check the doors. Now we need to start the APU, but before starting it, we'll just do a fire test. Okay, everything is working. And we will turn the master switch and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit the start button, and the APU should start spooling, and eventually it will come online. And as you see, if I go back into the cabin, you will hear some changes. So this is the safety announcement, and this is like how the sound changes when you move from cockpit to the cabin. And then if I open the door, it will change again, as you see. Very good simulation of the real world, I guess. When you close the door, the sound muffles a little bit. So this is great to see in this aircraft. And it's incredible that everything you see here is done voluntarily, and it is free. So thanks to the Flybywire team, this aircraft is becoming a very good aircraft to fly. And after Flybywire, I never returned back to the default A320, to be honest. Okay, let's check the APU status. Looks like our APU is online. It says available here. We can turn the APU bleed on and turn off the external power and tell the ground crew to remove the power card. That is also done. I wish when you remove this button goes dark because there is no power available. The truck is removed, but I think eventually, hopefully it will happen. That's more realistic. Fuel pumps are on. We are getting ready to start our engines, and we will call the pushback tug.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
I am still using the Ambitious Pilot's PU toolbar pushback. I like this pushback program a lot, and this interactive communication with the tug driver is also nice. So that's really great. Alright, he is connecting right now, and we can check from outside. There he is.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed, and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set.
So he's gonna lift the nose now.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
There we go. Our beacon light is on. Okay, he's standing by for pushback, and we are pretty much ready, so let's tell him to push us reverse.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay,
Parking
my
brake
final
set.
check over here. Everything seems to look okay, and he's asking us to release the parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the
Okay.
engines in sequence.
It will start in the
And
sequence.
we are going to push our tail to the left. Runway 28 left is over on right side. So we started to move ignition to... Let's turn on the ignition and start with engine number 2. There's our engines, and as I said, we will push the tail to the left slowly while the engine is spooling. Beautiful clouds here at Dublin today. It's early in the morning, around 8 AM, and the cloud representation of the weather is looking great in the simulator. Alright, let's check the cockpit to make sure we have a good engine start, and check the annunciations. Flight director is on, constraints turned on. We are not going to tune a VOR station, although we can, but we are not going to do that. And waiting for the engine to stabilize so that we can start the other one. Alright, looks like we have a good engine start, and the pushback is almost there. Let's go and hold it there because we are going to following this taxiway. So maybe I just made the turn a little bit early, but it's okay.
Okay, pushback completed.
Engine is stable. Let's set the parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set.
It's gonna lower, and we'll start the other engine. P2 is barking.
Ground. You may disconnect.
Okay, sir. Clear to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See
Okay,
you at the
and
side.
before starting the engines, you also do
Holding
the
position waiting for the visual.
engine
Thank
fire
you and
test,
goodbye.
which I forgot. I think this is why they have 2 people in the cockpit, because there are a lot of things that you need to remember to fly this aircraft, and in the simulator you are on your own. Sorry about that, but I mentioned that in the beginning that I will not follow the real world procedures as close as the others, and we'll focus on showcasing what has been added to the A320 by the Flybywire team. Okay, if you guys enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like while we are waiting for the engine to start up. And also, if you stumbled upon this video by chance, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell to get notified for future episodes. We also live stream and do group flights on Sundays. Feel free to join to one of those, and our Discord server is used for voice chatting during the group flight. Alright, 2 good engine start, I guess. We'll turn the ignition to normal. We'll set our flaps. We will arm the parking brakes. And we will turn the APU off because we don't need it anymore. And the last thing is, for now, we have to plug in our transponder code. We will squawk 1071 and we'll turn this to auto. For now, we will turn the TCAS system prior to takeoff. Predictive wind shear on, weather radar is turned on, which is not working at the moment, and terrain on ND is not working as well, but it's okay. Parking brake released, and taxi lights are now on, along with runway turn-off lights, and we are good to start our taxi. Alright, let's get rid of this pushback window. Give her some power. She's gonna start moving, and remember, we are using the tiller to steer the aircraft. Rudder pedals don't do anything anymore, and this is a better representation of the real aircraft. I am using my twist action of my Thrustmaster Airbus A3 Airbus side stick, and it requires some getting used to, but after you practice a little bit and get used to it, it feels natural. So we'll follow this taxiway and take the right turn to runway 28 left. It's great to see these ground vehicles waiting for us. Well, I spoke too early, I guess they were impatient a little bit. So, sorry guys, you will be smashed, unfortunately, because you are not patient. Okay, we'll take this turn and go straight for runway 28. And while we are doing this, let's turn the strobe to auto, because we are going to pass a stretch of runway while doing this, and we might need the strobes to make sure there are no aircraft. Usually you are instructed by ATC, but there is no one on departure or approach, so we are safe to cross. And the next runway is our departure runway 26 left. Let's slow the aircraft down a little bit after passing this runway and hold short there for our final configuration. Let's set the auto brakes to max and check the TO config, and we are coming to the hold short of 28 right here. We'll check the cabin. Okay, so that's good, and we'll stop here for a second to finish our configuration. Alright, we are about to enter the runway. Strobe goes on, landing lights are now on, nose wheel light goes to takeoff, and TCAS goes TARA, altitude reporting to on, and transponder goes on. I think that's all, and we can just line up and take off. Or we can also start the chrono to start timing our flight time. There we go. Nice and slow, we don't have to rush, we have time. And after takeoff, I think I will just let you guys watch a little bit and clean up the aircraft after takeoff, and then cut the video and bring you guys back when we are reaching our cruising altitude, for you to listen the captain's cruise announcement at that point. Alright, let's line up, and there we go. That sounds about right. Runway heading checked against the heading, so it's close, so we are on runway 28 left. Altimeter set, spoilers armed, flaps set, transponder on, and landing lights and passenger signs are on. We are good to our takeoff roll. So we will increase the throttle and let the engine stabilize. Release the toe brakes and then go until we see flex on the FMA at the top of the PFD. And I'm at this point using my rudder pedals. Okay, where is... well, it's hard to adjust the throttle to manage flex because I don't have any detents on my controller, but we are already at re-rotate while I was fiddling with the throttle. So we'll rotate and take off. Follow the runway heading. It says runway track as you see here because this is what we set up. Positive rate, gear is coming up, and we can go to... we'll just fly like this, hand fly, following our flight plan routing. And thrust reduction altitude is coming, so it's gonna ask us to pull the throttles to climb detent. It will start flashing, you will see it, and we are going to follow the flight director. Pull the levers to climb, that's good, and we will follow the flight director. So aircraft is accelerating for clean flap speed of 200 knots, and we will retract the flaps when we reach to 200. And from there we can, I think, engage the autopilot. Okay, 200 is coming up fast. Let's bring the flaps in and autopilot, managed heading. Beautiful. Let's take a look, shall we? What a lovely view. Alright, and if we go into the cabin, you will see some passengers talking, chatting to each other. There are some chatter going on, if you can hear it. It's good to see these small touches. So we'll increase the range to 20, 40, and we passed 5,000, so we'll go to standard barometric pressure. Same for the standby, and we will clean up the aircraft. So spoilers are disarmed, flaps are retracted, transponder is on, ECAM checked, no messages, seat belts, no smoking signs are on, and we are on managed speed, heading and altitude, so all checks. That's good. We are reaching 10,000, so we will turn the landing lights off, and we can also turn the runway turn off lights and the nose wheel light off because we retracted the wheels and they are not visible anymore. Coming up to 10,000, and I will just do that, and after 10,000 cut the video, bring you guys back when we are ready to reach cruise level. Okay, you don't have to sit here and watch me watching autopilot, controlling the aircraft and climbing to cruise. Oh, a little bit weather transition. We passed 10,000, so landing lights are off, and that is pretty much it for now, guys. I will see you in a little bit when we are ready to reach the cruise level. Welcome back, friends. We are reaching our cruise level, and as you are hearing, the engines are slowing down. So we made it to 21,000, and you will hear our captain doing his cruise speech here in a little bit. He will do that in a couple seconds. After you reach cruise, it waits a little bit, and then you will hear the announcement. And we'll go back to the cabin to see if there are any volume or audio differences between what you hear in the cockpit and what you hear back in the cabin as a passenger.
Ladies and gentlemen,
there we go.
Viotek, your captain speaking. We've just reached our cruising altitude for the flight. As it begins to settle in, I do want to remind you to please
no changes in
clear from the aisle, as the flight attendants will be coming through the cabin with galley cards shortly. Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating near the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Alright, so we are at cruise level. Our passenger signs are turned off. Seatbelt signs is turned off. No smoking is still on. And what we will do at this point is we'll go and enter our destination data, which is also MCDU warning us about. So to do that, we go to the performance page, next phase. QNH at Manchester is 1028, and we will check this again. We will request another weather report when we get close. Temperature looks like is 4 degrees and dew point is 1, and the winds at Manchester are coming from 160 at 3 knots. Alright, 160 at 3 knots. We will be landing with config 3 flaps. We have plenty of runway and we can land a little bit faster. Our barometric minimums for Manchester is, let me check the chart very quickly. ILS runway 23 right, barometric minimums 449, so 449er, and our approach information is now filled. And also, while I was waiting for the aircraft to reach the cruise, I filled this out. Our target altitude for glide slope is 3500, but we will first descend to 6000 and I will explain why. And this is, I am following to see when I should start my descent, because there is still no top of descent calculation in the NX. And where I am aiming for this is, let me show you in the screen. The waypoint I'm looking for is the final waypoint of our star, Mersey, and I want to be at 6,000 when I reach to Mersey. So let's change this from 335 to 6,000, and you will see it is asking us to start our descent 47 miles before Mersey. We go down, progress page, and put in the waypoint name to this box, and it will give us the distance to that waypoint, and we are looking to 47-50 mile range to start our descent. Alright, the other thing why I am descending down to 6,000 is I need to open Navigraph here and show you guys. Give me a second to get through this verification. I don't know why it happens all the time and it cannot store that verification information, but it's a little bit annoying. Navigraph, please fix this. So this is what we will be doing. A320 NX now supports holds with the experimental build. It's not in development yet, it's not in any other build, but it is in experimental, and this is what we are going to try. Mersey has a published hold, and the max speed is 230 knots, max holding altitude is flight level 140, and minimum holding altitude is 6,000, and that's why we are descending down to 6,000. We will try this out. Our inbound track to the hold is 061. It's a right turn hold. Inbound 061, right turn to 241, and then right turn again at DME, 30 DME to pole VOR, which is over on here, pole VOR. We will tune this and see if this is accurate and if aircraft is following this accurately. So let's tune the VOR first. It's 112.1 to here, and then we will go to flight plan page. We'll find Mersey, and now you have the hold option available. So as you see, it's showing the inbound course of 061 it's taking it from, I think, navigational data. It knows it's a right turn hold, so it's probably coming from the published hold information, and it's timed hold, like so we will complete each leg in a minute and a half. That's what it predicts. Something is going on. What is that? Oh, weather change. Okay, you can change this information. Okay, if you want to have this a left turn hold, you can put left. You can change the inbound course to whatever that inbound course is on your published hold, or if you have different ideas. And you can also change the time or the distance. So let's say if we want to make this a 2-minute hold, we will plug in 2 and the distance becomes 6. Or if we want to make this a 5-mile hold, we will put /5, my bad, and it will make it a 1.7-minute hold. You can also revert to the computed, which is the hold computed by the MCDU, and we will insert this. So now the MCDU is showing us that we are coming to Mercy and holding at Mercy. Right turn. Speed is not displayed, so I'm not sure if we can plug in the speed here. Let's try to do that if it's something. No, it's not taking it, and it's not giving me an option to enter the speed information, so maybe that's not implemented yet. But anyway, we are holding at Mercy and then continuing to Mercy and onto our flight plan path. Alright, we can get rid of Navigraph window and check the progress page to see how close we are to Mercy. I think it is time for us to think about starting our descent. Oh, not that one. Not that one, sorry. We will set ourselves for 6,000 and engage the descent, and you will hear the pilot doing the descent announcement here in a second. Alright, he is not speaking yet, but he will.
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for our approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated till the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. Okay. I think this is the last announcement. I'm not sure if he has a landing one. I can't remember. I did one flight with this experimental build, so we will see. So we are on our descent path coming to Val, and then after Val is Mercy, the waypoint that we were planning to hold, and it should be displayed there. When we get close, you should see the hold, and maybe it will show it here. Well, actually it is not, but we will see, because it was displaying it on here, but maybe there is a range restriction that doesn't draw it on the ND. Anyway, I will just cut the video here because you don't have to watch me descending, and I will bring you guys back when we are getting close to Mercy to enter the hold. See you in a little bit. Welcome back, friends. We are coming to our holding point, and as you see, it's displayed on our ND. Let me make it a little bit closer, or let me zoom in and drop the range. We have a 230 knot speed restriction, which aircraft perfectly followed and slowed down, and we are getting close to 10,000, so it's a good idea to turn our landing lights and turn our seatbelt signs. We will do one rotation, or one full tour for the holding pattern, and then we will be on our way, and we will exit the hold after that, because I don't want to spend too much time, but I want you guys to see how it looks like and how the aircraft is going to enter the hold and turn, and whether it is going to be close. So I turned on the VOR. We are looking to pole VOR, and after the turn, when we enter the hold at 30 DME, the aircraft should start another right turn to do the second half of the turn and then finish the leg. We can also start the chrono and time it to see how accurately the hold will be represented, and it now calculated the hold speed for us at 1.5 minutes. So we'll see if it holds true when we enter the hold. We can start the chrono. There is a chrono on ND, if you guys don't know about this. There we go. Now we should see the aircraft turning. We entered the hold. Let's start the chrono and see if it's going to be 1 minute 30 seconds for the leg to finish the hold. And we are at clean dot speed, so because aircraft knows that Mercy is our final waypoint in our arrival, and it's slowing down for us to start configuring the aircraft for landing, and it will keep the clean dot speed. That's also the speed at the hold. One thing in real life is holds are very expensive. You burn a lot of fuel and you don't go anywhere. It's just, you know, not a good practice for airlines, and they don't like to be holding. If they have to, they prefer to hold while descending so that they can use that glide with less thrust and burn less fuel. And that's what we are doing until 6,000. When we are at 6,000, it's going to be holding at that altitude, and that's not always liked by the companies or the pilots, because you burn a lot of fuel, you pollute the environment with a lot of exhaust gas, and you are not getting anywhere. So holds are expensive, and everybody wants to get out of the hold as soon as possible. But sometimes, as the pilot, you are also obligated to follow the ATC instructions and hold if they are asking you to hold. Okay, what we are watching here now is we started the timer, so it's already past 1 minute 30 seconds. So not sure if this is holding true, or maybe I'm just reading it wrong. So let me know in the comments if there is anything that I am not understanding properly. Okay, I had that before, and there were some nice people to let me know, like, this is not like that but this, and I'm always open to that kind of feedback. So let me know in the comments if there is anything that I am not aware, or maybe I misunderstood here. I'm also looking at 30 DME pole to see if we will make that second right turn at that point. We are coming to our transition altitude of 6,000. We can now perfectly go to the local barometric pressure. And while we are holding, what is that? Did I do something? Oh my gosh, what was that? I'm just checking the enunciations, but there is nothing. Okay, let's go and request another METAR report. Weather requests, METAR, oops, send, and it should get us the information we need to correct our QNH. Let's get the standby altimeter set as well. And there we go. Now we are going to command the aircraft to exit the hold. I think I was late on that. So now exit is armed, and the aircraft should exit the hold after completing the second turn. So instead of making you guys wait here, you have seen that the aircraft is following the holding pattern just right, and that is our entry point of Mercy. So when we reach there, the aircraft should exit the hold. Just wait a little bit and see. And the chrono is at 4 minutes, so I'm not sure if I understood the time there. It is not a 1 minute hold, but maybe that's because of the speed we have. Anyway, so we are ready to, we already commanded the aircraft to exit the hold. We can go to the performance page and stay here to activate the approach phase in the MCDU, which will set the aircraft over approach and landing, and we can tune down to 3500, but we are not going to execute this yet because we have, remember, a restriction. Minimum holding altitude is 6000 feet, so we have to wait until we exit the hold to continue our descent to 3500 to intercept the glide slope. Alright, let me see. This has been, I think, a 30-40 minute video. I try to keep it at 30 minutes, but sometimes, you know, you have to explain a lot of things, and you have to be a little bit more detailed, so it takes more time. Apologies for that, but feel free to skip through if you don't want to watch this part, and see whatever you need to see or check by advancing the video and skipping through the video if you want to. Also, if you practice this yourself, let me know in the comments how it went for you, okay? I'm curious to learn how you guys are liking the A320, and if these information we as the content creators, not just myself creating, is useful to you guys. So it's really good to know your thoughts and your feedback, so feel free to send me a message, or, you know, write a comment, or join us on our Discord server to let us know what you are thinking. I'm just getting ready to complete this flight and start the approach and landing. And as I said, I'm waiting to pass this waypoint, but we are not going to fly that route. We will turn around and fly a different heading after activating this. I'm just waiting for us to reach to that waypoint to do this. You can do it right now, I believe it's not gonna hurt anything. So let's activate and confirm. Now aircraft is on approach mode in the MCDU, not at the FCP. We are not talking about this. So we will go selected heading, and we will probably follow something like heading 060, which should take us to yeah, I think it looks nice. We are following like this to 060, and we will make a right turn to intercept our final fix. And when we get close, we will turn the we will start extending the flaps as well. Alright, our passengers are warned. We will call the cabin when we are closer. I don't think we will need anything more than low setting on the autopilot, auto brakes. There is a calculator here where you can put the ICAO code of the airport and then do some math. I have a video that shows to do this if you want to go and check. And where was I? Okay, this is done. We can stay here. What you basically do is you plug in your ICAO code, Echo Golf Charlie Charlie, and then get the METAR information. And we also requested METAR, didn't we? We probably can print that message one more time from the MCDU to make sure weather has not changed and we have the correct weather information. Alright, let's print that. And why it's not getting the METAR? Okay, it's getting the METAR. Runway heading, we are landing to runway 23, and the heading of that runway is, let's see here, 232. we can plug this in here, and then there is no slope. Runway length is LDA is the length of the runway, and that is, oh gosh, I am lost in the chart now. What is the runway length? It's not on the approach plate. I need to go to a different chart, but I don't have time for this, guys. Check my other video to calculate this, but we will be perfectly fine with the low brake setting in this case. Okay. If I have time to check the airport chart to see the runway length, I can just walk you through just a little bit more. Airport, that is the airport chart. Okay, runway 23 right is 10,000 feet long, which is 3,048 meters. So that's what you put into the LDA. Okay, approach speed, you can get it from the MCDU under the performance page. This is already printed. So approach speed is 1.4. You type it in there. And then we are landing config 3, no overweight procedure, no nothing, and then runway slope is what, 0, close to 0. Okay, and then that is it. We'll hit calculate, and it should calculate our landing distance, and it should display it here. Oh, runway altitude, we haven't put the touchdown zone elevation, which is on our approach chart, and I'm running out of time now for approach, but let's finish this. Touchdown zone elevation is, where is it? 249er. Okay, and calculate. Now as you see, low brakes, we will stop at 2,527 meters, which is more than enough for our landing. We'll go heading 055, and we are ready to make that turn, but I'd like to go a little bit further and make this turn to come around and hit the localizer button to align with the localizer, and that's what I'm aiming for right now. Heading 050. So yeah, this is how you calculate the landing distance. Without all the information, this is not gonna calculate anything for you, but if you plug in the correct information, then you'll have everything calculated in terms of what kind of setting you need to use for auto brakes. Okay, that is better. And remember guys, when you are landing with config 3, you need to turn this on saying landing flap 3, so that ground proximity warning system doesn't yell at you saying terrain, terrain, terrain as you are landing with flaps 3. Okay, let's check the printer, get the new METAR report. Okay, 1028, nothing has changed, so we are good on that front. And now we can make that turn to, oops, 150, which will get us to that final fix, or close to that final fix, where we can hit the localizer button to activate that. We'll keep the range at 20, everything looking nice. No flaps introduced just yet. I'm waiting a little bit more to be a little bit efficient. I don't want to make my company or managers angry as a virtual pilot, so that's why I'm not doing it, but we can work on other stuff. Spoilers armed, ignition goes to continuous for landing, runway turn off lights and nose light, we will turn it on when we extend the landing gear. And look at that beautiful, beautiful scenery outside of Manchester. There we go. Nicely done. I hope they will introduce seasons. I have a seasons mod that I'm using to change the tree colors, but the grass looks still green. It's not true representation of winter colors, and I hope Microsoft and Asobo does something about this. Alright, we will initiate the descent to 3500 if the aircraft follows our commands, or because we are on selected heading it is not following our command, but we can do this and command the aircraft to descend at a vertical speed of 1000 feet per minute, and we are coming up to our initial fix. We will wait just a little bit more to get at least to another 5 miles, and then we will turn the localizer mode on to capture the localizer to align with the runway, and then we will start introducing flaps and arming the approach mode. So we are coming down to 3500 now, nice and easy. Almost there. It's going to be fine. We can go to a bit more vertical speed to descend a little bit faster, but we should be fine. We should be fine. 3500 is where we are expecting to capture the glide slope. Sorry, I touched the altitude knob mistakenly. So, and I think we can turn the localizer mode on and do this, and we'll get down to 3500 automatically, or managed. Okay, now the localizer mode is on, aircraft is going to capture the localizer. We can turn the landing system on to see where our localizer diamond and glide slope diamond is, and that's our initial fix. I could have made this turn a little bit earlier, but when you speak and try to explain, this happens. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to keep you guys too long here. Alright, we I guess are getting on the localizer shortly. Aircraft is trying to capture the localizer, and the weather is insane. 35 knot crosswind right now, so that's a little bit unwanted, but we will manage it. We will disconnect the autopilot a little bit later so that the crosswind doesn't blow us away from the runway. It's hard to manage the aircraft with crosswinds. I am still not used to it. I am working on it. So landing gear signs, yes, we can start flaps 1. Passenger signs are on, we'll double check that. Runway turn off lights and nose light turned on, and we will go flaps 2 shortly after 200 indicated airspeed. There we go. So that's flaps 2, and remember we are landing with flaps 3, so we have one more notch of flaps left, and I'm just watching the distance to the airport. So we started to pick the ILS signal. That's the ILS, and we are 12 miles away from it, looks like. So I'll wait a little bit longer to extend the landing gear. I will not still do that. So flaps is going to 3 here in a second. I'm gonna wait a little bit until we reach the final fix, and let's activate the approach mode. There we go. Glide slope is armed, localizer is captured. Aircraft is heading that direction because of the strong crosswind, guys. That's what's happening, and the diamond is getting close, so we are good. This is a good point to go flaps 3 and check. Yep, flaps 3, and that's our final flap setting, and our approach speed is 144 if I remember correctly from the performance page. Yes, and landing speed is 139. We are going to aim for that one. Glide slope is now captured. We started descending into Manchester, which is good. which means we can drop our landing gear. Landing gear is coming down. There we go. Alright, very nice. And that's our last phase of our flight. So we will call the cabin.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Alright, please prepare for landing. Auto brakes are set. Spoilers are armed. Flaps are set. Ignition continues. Glide slope and localizer captured. Speed looking okay. And we are on profile. So everything looks
2,500.
Everything looks just fine.
2,500.
That's the GPWS
2,500.
reading the radio altitude, and with the wind is making us jump. That's the radio altitude. As we jump, it is passing 2,500 and coming down again, and that's why it keeps saying it. So there's the airport and the runway, and look how crooked we are due to this 35 knot crosswind coming from 296 from that direction towards our nose. But we should be fine, guys. Let's go to LS mode here. We don't need the VOR anymore. That's a little bit confusing. We don't need the chrono. Let's stop and close this. 46 minutes to get here, so which means the video is a little bit longer than that, or maybe not, because I stopped and cut the sections to make it a little bit faster for you guys. Alright, the aircraft is coming down. I'm gonna wait a little longer this time because the wind is still too strong and it's hard to control the aircraft when it is that strong. I'd like to keep this kind of flight attitude to make sure we are heading towards the runway, which shows us here, and disconnecting autopilot might throw me off. That's why I'm worried. That's what I'm worried about. But I will wait until the minimums, or at least 1,000 feet radio altitude, and disconnect the autopilot when the winds calm down. As you see, I was saying I'm using a seasons mod, and that's why the trees are not green in my sim. Yeah, but it makes it more realistic, guys. During winter, nobody wants to see green trees unless you are at a tropical region. 1,000 checked. So wind is still very strong, and as you see, the aircraft is jumping around, but the wings are calming down slowly. So I think now I am feeling much more comfortable to take control of the aircraft. So autopilot disconnected, and we'll stay on runway heading and runway track and follow the puppy lights to land the aircraft. Alright, just off to the left. The wind is still pushing us.
500.
You are seeing it, I'm pretty sure. And that's what I'm saying. It is very hard to control this aircraft's movements when the wind is that strong.
100 above.
Okay.
300.
300 checks. And this is as good as it gets, I guess. A little bit on the fast side, but I think we are landing. Okay, 100 checked.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
Retard. Did I hit the wheels?
10.
I think I did.
5.
Classic Ryanair landing, I guess, right? So reversers are engaged, auto brakes are doing their job, and we should be able to stop. But I think I just jumped or bounced. I wish I had the flight recorder on to check it out. Reversers are now disengaged, and we will just take this high-speed exit and find ourselves a parking position after cleaning the aircraft up. flaps are coming in, landing lights are going off. Now at this point strobe can go to auto, runway turn off lights we don't need, taxi light we will keep, and down below altitude reporting and TCAS can come off, transponder can go to auto, predictive wind shear and weather radar is not needed anymore, and we can start cleaning the things up. We can turn that off now because we are on the ground, and that was a rough landing, guys, I'm telling you. I'll check the landing report in Volanta if it's recorded, but we will take this exit towards the gates, and I have a way to cheat because I don't know where I'm parking, so we will tune the ground and ask the ground for taxi to gates.
Ryan Air 556, request taxi to the gate. Ryan Air 556, taxi to gate 25 via taxiway Alpha Charlie Alpha Delta Lima.
Okay, acknowledge that. And this is my cheating, guys. The taxi ribbon is showing my gate because, well, I'm never able to figure out the gate myself, and I just find a random parking spot which should be okay, but this time I'd like to do it a little bit different and more realistically. Alright, let's start our APU because we are going to need it shortly. And I'm not sure why this is started to stutter. We don't need the LS mode anymore. We can turn the LS off, and we can turn the flight director off too. And look at that, it's stuttering a lot. Sorry about this, guys, I don't know what's going on here. Coming into Manchester. Interesting. Sorry about these micro stutters that is affecting your viewing pleasure, but I'm not sure what's happening. Because my graphics settings should be just fine. Let me close some of the software that's running in the background, which might be consuming some system resources. Okay, it's a little bit better now, I guess, and we are almost at our parking gate. Hopefully there will be a marshaller to guide us for our parking to the gate, like helping us figure out the distance and telling us where to stop. If not, we will figure it out ourselves, because I have seen both happening. Sometimes you get a marshal, sometimes it's just a gate without anything but a pushback tag and a baggage cart. We will see. But I think I'd like to say this experimental build has a lot of good functionality that's brought into the A320 by the Flybywire team. I think that's highly appreciated and a great addition. Especially the cabin announcements are a nice touch, so I think they are going to be enjoyed by a lot of people. If you are using a passenger simulation like PackX or self-loading cargo, it might be not useful for you, but I'm pretty sure this will be useful for a lot of people. Alright, we need to slow down a little bit to easily get into the parking spot. I'm going to try to keep the speed around 10 knots on the ground. That will give us a nice and smooth turn without missing the other one, because I think the tiller operation, the hardest part is to, you know, catch this stuff and park the aircraft properly. And as you see, there is no marshaller, so we are on our own to park this thing ourselves. and I think that's what we are going to do. We are too fast, let's slow it down. And A320 is this one here, so I can't see that, guys. I have to cheat, I'm sorry. It's like not quite possible for a pilot to see without a marshaller or a guidance system that guides you on the distance right there. It's not quite possible to get this. Alright, so that should be it for us. And if you check, that says A320, so it should be the correct one. Let's go and set our parking brake. Parking brake set. APU is running, APU bleed is on, which means we can turn off our engines, but before, let's turn off the taxi lights and turn the engines off. Ignition back to normal, which I forgot. Engines off, beacon light can now come off, and we can just call for the jetway and the external power by a baggage and catering trucks. We can now open the cockpit door, and our passengers will be leaving our aircraft here in a little bit. So beacon is turned off, strobe is turned off, nav and logo lights will stay on. Ground power is available, so we will switch to ground power and turn off the APU. And as you see, our passengers are leaving our aircraft. You are hearing the chatter. Oh, the spoilers are... Why are the spoilers like that? Oh, interesting, they got stuck. Didn't realize that. But anyway, welcome to Manchester, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and the new added features to Airbus A320 by the Flybywire team to the experimental build. If you are interested, feel free to download and see it for yourself. And I will be seeing you in the next video.